Okay, guys, we're back on. We did the trouble spots, races and dictionaries. And this is what it's telling you guys, and you probably pretty much should remember. But like when you're going in and globaling something, like say you have an answer symbol that you left out one letter. Well, it's not coming up. Well, you know it's your answer symbol. You global it, and it's going to come up like this. It should already come up. That's the way that it needs to be defined, okay? So these are the way that things need to be defined. You don't need to worry about that. I've never even seen any of that stuff. But your speaker identification needs to be that way. Okay? Parenthetical paragraphs, new paragraphs, decimal point needs to be like that. If you don't do it like that, it's going to come out wrong. Okay? So you have to do it like that. On a delete stroke, auto include. We're going to go over all of that stuff too. Punctuation is the same way, okay? So it needs to have the brackets, okay? If you don't do it with the brackets, you global it, put a period, it's not going to know what to do, okay? Here it already knows. With the bracket, it already knows. With this bracket, it tells it what to do. It puts a period, space, space, cap next, and then go on. Just by putting those brackets, it already tells it what to do. You don't put the brackets, and it's not going to know what the heck you're telling it to do. So all it's going to do is just put the period, and it's not going to know what to do after that. By putting the brackets, it tells it exactly what it needs to do. Same thing with comma, question mark, any of this stuff, and that's how you have to do it. That's how you have to set it up. So if you want to, you don't have anything for dashes, you don't have anything for hyphen, colon, semicolon. That's how you have to set it up.
So
okay?
I have one, and I don't even know how I got it. It's in my dictionary, and when I hit off, it says off the record, and it comes out as a parenthetical centered.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I did that.
It was already in there.
I don't remember how.
And it's a block file.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that, but it's a block file. It's a file that's already in your computer, that's already in your dictionary. And then by hitting off, whoever gave that to you already set it up. So as off, it already comes up. And it already knows. Return, center, parentheses, what it says. Whereupon an off-the-record discussion was had, or whatever.
So right, I was just saying because right now it says the brackets had a uppercase P for parentheticals.
Where?
If you scroll up. Oh, it's a parenthetical paragraph. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's something totally different.
Okay.
So that's what it's going to be right there, is an auto include.
Okay. So then maybe they did it for me, or like you said, it was.
Yeah, it's already been done. So that's good. So this is talking about the composite global. So if you do this, this is how you do it. I don't do that. So to sit here and tell you how to do it,
Well, that's what they call them extensions.
yeah.
Where you do the question and then other left, that's, I'm teaching
Yes,
myself that.
no,
I'm learning
that's
what,
correct,
what is.
all of that stuff.
did,
If you
what.
do that, help yourself. They're already doing question, yes, period, in one stroke. Seriously?
I'm learning to do that.
You know what? If your brain functions that well, that you understand that, help yourself. Mine doesn't, which is no big deal. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying I don't use it.
But once you start using it, it makes sense.
Yeah,
But
and I'm sure it does.
You don't even have to include the period because it already does it for you.
Yeah, you set it up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if it's yes, did you go to the store? Yes.
And you move on.
I went with my brother and another guy.
But then you continue writing.
It's not because it needs to be a period. Did you go to the store? Yes. But I went with my brother and another guy. So you're answering the question, period, and then it needs to go on.
The ones that I'm doing, I don't put the punctuation on.
Yeah, and you don't have to. You can put the punctuation later.
If you put, yeah.
But you see how the punctuation totally changes the meaning of that sentence? So you have to be careful the way that you punctuate it too. So if you use the extensions, then great. Let's see if it'll set it up on how to do it.
So like the one for my name is. it's
See,
M.
where it says pren, where it's open parentheses, and if you do pren with the, like the asterisk, then that's a closed parentheses. So it all depends on how you do it, okay? So you want to be careful on how you do it. If you do parentheses, you know, if you're that good that you can do parentheses while you're writing, help yourself. Okay? But that's, you see how it set it up? It already knows that that's what you were meaning to do, and it set it up with the brackets already. So all you have to do is press number 1. That's it. So you press number 1, enter, already puts it in there. Already knows what to do. Okay? Let's see what clown is. I don't know what clown is. Do y'all? I don't know. Unless it's colon?
Colon. probably.
Yeah.
The question is colon. blank.
Yeah.
See, now I want to know how to do colons, right? But when it came to my test, I had no clue.
So you do it like that, boom, boom. And it already knows. You don't even have to do it. It already knows. Space, cap. Did you see how it did that? Slick?
I didn't see it, but I understand.
Or were you eating crackers or what? It's not gonna go back. Well, you should have it in your tutorial. So look at it in your tutorial where it has clown. Are you following along?
No, because I can never actually get a feel for it unless I have my own thing opened up. I don't like it. It's like a filter version, you know? I want to test it if it's really going to work when
Okay.
I'm not in there.
All right. Well, when you teach the class, no, that's fine. I mean, you know, if you want to be in a document and doing it yourself, then that's fine. But the tutorials are good because you can go back, go into that tutorial and see exactly what it did. If you just put colon in there, nothing else, that's all it's going to put in there. It may not even put it in the right place. But by putting those brackets and putting the colon, it knows exactly what to do. Okay? See how I put it right there? And that's how it looked. The question is, clon, when? And that's what you put. So on the clon, you global the clon, but that's how it looked. The question is, clon, when? And that's exactly how it looked, and then you saw how it set it up. It put the colon, space, cap, which is the correct way of doing it.
Someone wants to write clon instead of the symbol, or there's an actual stroke.
Okay. But the stroke, you're still going to have to define the stroke. So if the stroke's not in your dictionary, then you're still going to have to define the stroke. That's how you define the stroke. How you do it up here, I don't care. They don't either. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can do it clam, whatever. However you do colon, that's how they do it. They're not telling you that's the only way to do it. They're just saying, you know, so if there's another way that you know how to stroke out colon, then do it. But you still have to define it this way. And that's the only thing they're telling you, is how to define it. Not how to stroke it, just how to define it. So when you define it, you have to define it with the brackets. Okay? Yeah. Any questions on that? And they're going to go quick, and that's why I'm saying we're going to take this week and next to probably go over it, and then we'll kind of do like a general overview of everything, and then that third week we're going to get into it, okay? So then we'll bring in machines, and then we'll get into it, all right? Yeah. Are you asleep already?
We know we're every 2 weeks though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We get 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So that means we'll only have 5.
Yeah. What are you getting at?
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
Y'all want to teach this class? I didn't think so.
Why, you didn't teach us some new stuff.
I am going to teach you new stuff, but if you don't know this stuff, it ain't going to matter what I teach you. Because then we're going to go, what? How do you, what? How do you do colon? How do you block file? How do you put endings? Seriously?
Well, see, we know how to do it. I mean, for the most part, we already edit our tests. Like, we know how to, the general function of doing, you know. But like,
There was some stuff you didn't know tonight. I want to make sure you know everything. Just about everything.
What I
Guys,
wanna
don't
know
worry
more-
about it. We're going to get what we need to get done. Okay? Trust me. We're going to get done what we need to get done. Okay? And I know that you're anxious to get started, get on the machine and start doing stuff. It's going to come. Don't worry about it. We're going to have plenty of time to do it. Do what?
I'm really interested more in learning about those little function keys on the side, the little F, and then there's a 2 and 8. Are we gonna go over that?
These?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've already gone over it.
Yeah, but I didn't really use them until I had to do a transcript,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's.
Do y'all know about that?
Mind-boggling.
Fixed, question, answer.
yeah.
It'll do it with
It was like a
one
thing.
line, 2 line, 2
See?
spaces.
So I mean, you know, and how would you go in there? How would you come in here and center something?
Or did a space, or tap, tap.
There, where the F is, you would make it a C.
How?
Click on it, and then hit center in the middle pane.
Okay. Well, not everybody knows that.
But now we do.
So now that's why we're going over these. That's why. Trust me, guys. Trust me with this.
What
I know
is
you're
the
anxious to do
lesson
it,
is that?
but I want to make sure that you know this stuff. And there's some of this stuff that you don't know. Some of you guys know it, some of you don't. And that's okay. But I just want to make sure that we cover it, and that's why we're covering it fast. If we would have done it the other way, If we would have been here every week, I'd have covered this in probably 3 weeks. Okay? We'd have gone over it a little bit slower and gone over it 3 weeks. But we only have 7 weeks. We don't have the 14 weeks or the 15 weeks to do it. So I'm cramming a lot of information into 2 weeks. So you're getting a lot more than what you thought. I probably would have covered it in 3 or 4 weeks and then had about 10 weeks to do the other stuff. But, you know, we're covering a lot of information tonight. It's stuff that you probably already should know. But if you don't, it's okay. We're covering it now. So prefix and suffixes, you all know about that. What is it in hyperkeys?
W.
You think so?
Oh,
Slick?
am I wrong?
I thought it was W.
It is W.
Oh.
I'm making sure.
Mine is
I'm
not
making sure
working.
because somebody answers and the other one didn't know it, you know. And the one back there thinks she knows it all. She already wants to start taking depositions tomorrow.
That's just it. I have more questions for that part. This part's like edited.
And we're going to get to that part. And you're going to have plenty of time to ask questions. Okay? All right. So, I mean, and that's what we're doing. So, you know, when you go in and you're going to put a word in your dictionary, you want to make sure that you break the word down into words that can stand alone. Okay? We've gone over that. Okay? So you want to make sure that you do it correctly. As the prefix, it's RE. But when it's RI, then now it's a suffix. So you have to be careful the way that you do it. Okay? Because it's going to lock onto something else. So if you accidentally do RI as a prefix, but you really meant it as a suffix, then what it's going to do is attach onto the word before that had nothing to do with the word that you even wanted to attach to. Does that make sense? So you have to be careful with the way that you define it and put it in your dictionary. And that's what they're telling you right there. When you use the caret, all it does is delete the space. Okay? So if you want something together, like say you have your and honor on the next line. Those always go together. Always. And I don't know who told you here that your is never capitalized. BS. It's always capitalized. Your honor is always capitalized. Okay? And I think in one of the books they told you that your was supposed to be small y O-U-R and then capital H-O-N-O-R. No. It's all capped. Okay? But if you have it your honor, it needs to be put together. You put your cursor right here. You hit the shift tilde. It's not really the caret, it's a tilde. The tilde puts it together. So it's going to take that word, move it down here.
I'm sorry.
That's right. Thought somebody else went over there. And it puts it together. So it's going to have your honor down here. Okay? So really what the caret does and what it's telling you right here is that it puts it as a suffix. Okay? You have to know that it goes in the brackets, caret ER, caret OR. And you have to be careful where you put that caret because that's going to determine whether it's a suffix or if you put it over here, it's going to be a prefix. Okay? Got that?
Yes.
Slick? So how would you do this one?
I don't have to remind you, it'd be bracket, RE, caret. Different, yeah.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, because it'll be a prefix.
Yeah. So you push number 1, enter, puts it in there. Okay?
I'm having a lot of problems with like endings, like say created, it'll put two E's. It'll write create and then join, then have ED. So then I'll have two E's there between the T and the D. And that happens a lot with, you know, a lot of, especially the D endings, the ED.
It's something's happening in the way you define something.
I don't know how to fix that, so I just go in there and literally, you know, global it, and then it'll come up as.
Now you just put your cursor on and it should come up in hyperkeys. Press 1, go on. But, I mean, it may be in the way that you did your ED ending. Maybe it's not in the brackets, something like that.
It's already defined in there.
Well, you need to go in there and check it.
And check.
You need to go in and check it, because if whoever did it before you just put ED, caret ED, then that's maybe why it's doing it. Because if you don't put it in the brackets, then it's not going to know. When you put it in the brackets, it already tells you cut the other E off, put the ED.
But say like for instance in the word reminded, it doesn't have an E at the end, so you're going to need that E, that
Just push that.
caret and ED
Yeah.
But it's like
definition.
it's in the, when it's in the brackets, it'll cut off the.
It already knows
like
to
from
cut it off.
create, It'll cut off the E from create and stick on the ED.
Okay.
So it already
So
cut,
it may
it
not
knows
be in
what
the
to do.
brackets.
With the
I have to
brackets,
check it.
with the brackets,
Okay.
it knows what to do. But if you just define it, and it's probably what happened, is
Okay.
go in your dictionary and look at ED, and if it's just caret ED, then all it's doing is putting the ED on there, because that's what you told it to do. With the brackets, it's the artificial intelligence that tells it, cut the other E off, put the ED,
Okay.
okay? Okay, any questions about that? Endings, pretty straightforward.
Oh gosh, we'll spend a whole night on this.
We're gonna spend the remainder of the evening with this one because of. All right. Huh?
I said, I just don't get it. And this is like the most important part.
It really is. This is super important.
Just before you say it, let me just ask you so if I know for sure what I'm doing.
All right.
So say.
You don't. Go ahead.
So, in order to identify the speaker, I would stroke out whatever bank it is that I'm using
Yeah.
for speaker one, right? And I haven't had it defined yet. So I'll go to that stroke and I will global it, and I will do the bracket, the S, capital S.
You don't have to do all that. That's
No, but-
where the special entry comes in. Remember I told you about the
Oh,
special entry?
Yes.
You don't have to do all that. But if you want to do it the long way, that's how you do it.
Okay, so.
You're going to do it like that. That's what it's going to come up looking like. Bracket, S, colon, bracket.
Right, but I don't want to define the person's name yet. I'm just defining it as like attorney 1, attorney
Yeah.
2, attorney 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I would define, would I still have to use the S colon
Yeah.
ATTY 1
Yeah.
and then close the bracket?
And close the bracket.
Okay, so then the other way is I would go to the, like I would global it and then I would.
Now you want to name it.
Oh,
Is that what you're saying?
no.
Oh.
That's what I was asking, the speaker, the special entries,
Yeah.
when you do the speaker,
Mhm.
whatever, that's to identify the speaker.
And I'm going to show you right here, right now. So right here. Right here. So you do global, global, okay? Let's just say you want that as attorney 1, okay? So you're right there. Now you come into special entry, do S, slop stroke, S, special entry. Okay, it's right there. Speaker, that's what you want. Okay? And say that's your stroke for attorney 1. Okay? Now what you do, put attorney 1. You want it in your main because that's the stroke that you use for attorney 1. If that's what you use. We're pretending, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hypothetical. You want it in your main, enter. So now, every time that you hit this stroke, it's going to come up attorney 1. Okay? Get back out. So now you have attorney 1. And it says attorney 1 right there. Okay? Now what you want to do, Control G, because you want to global it. Okay? It's listed as attorney 1. Well, you don't want it as attorney 1 because it's already attorney 1 right here. Okay? So now what you want to do is F2, open up your speaker list and name it.
Okay.
All right? So say it's Mrs. Anderson. Hit number 1. You don't want it in your main. Are you listening?
Yes, I'm trying to do it on here while you're talking.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. You don't want it in your main because you stroked it out as attorney 1. So all you want to do is global it in this job. So instead of it being in the main, now you want it in the job dictionary. So now you do it how? How do you put it in the job?
Control J.
Control J. Control J, now it's telling you, you want to global it throughout the whole thing? Absolutely, I do. And that's how you change it. Okay? And that's how you just changed it to Miss Anderson.
You know the way you can edit your dictionary, like you have job dictionaries? Every time I open up my speaker list, a bunch of names come up. Is there a place I can go to delete all of those names so I can always start fresh?
It should start fresh. Unless you use a lot of the same,
Every time I open a new thing, I don't know what all these lines mean. And I delete them each time, but each time I open something new, it pops up again. I don't want all this.
just tell me what you want to say in the job dictionary. So it should just be saved in that job. And what you may have done was go in and labeled it as, and put those in your main dictionary. That's the only reason I can think of it, because these should come up. Go back. These should stay in like witness, court, attorney 1, attorney 2. Those should always be in there. They should always stay in there. Well, why they do this so big? So what you may need to do, get out of that. Go to the main page. Just no, go down to minimize it. You go to F2, see if it'll let you in there. And just delete all of the ones that you don't want. Is it deleted?
Yeah.
And they look up the form and look underneath. All the proper names I would kind of delete and see if it should work that
Can
way.
it change?
No, it should keep it that way. When you're in a job and you're deleting them there, all it's doing is deleting them from that job. When you're doing it on the main screen here, then it's changing it. It should change it. It should change it from there onto your main. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're back to this. And speakers, and this is how you do it. So it has to be defined this way. Bracket S, which means speaker, colon, and then whatever the speaker you want it to be. So if you want to global the name that it needs to be, great. If you want to global it and put it in your main as something that it's supposed to be, attorney 1, attorney 2, bailiff, defendant, plaintiff, movement, any of those things, that it's going to stay in your main dictionary, then this is how you do it, and then put like attorney 1. But when you're already in the job and you need to name it because attorney 1 is Miss Robertson, then that's what it's going to look like, and you put it into a job dictionary. You don't put it into your main dictionary, because every time you hit that stroke for attorney 1, it's going to come up Miss Robertson. Well, she's not always going to be the attorney, you know? So you don't want it in your main like that, okay? So just like this, you know, you do Bob, Bob. You know, I think I've told y'all some of mine. I do red, red, black, black, brown, brown, big, big, hair, hair, glass, glass, gray, gray, blue, blue, whatever, okay? They do Bob, Bob. And say the guy's name is Mr. Barbarino, okay? Well, you know it's Mr. Barbarino, but you're not, and you ran out of speaker identifications already. Say you already have your 4 attorneys. Well, you know Mr. Barbarino is there and he's representing an intervener or whatever, but you know it's Mr. Barbarino. So you do Bob, Bob, okay? So how would you define that? How?
Global mark. I would hit MM twice and then global.
See, it's easier just to do
Control G.
Control G, Control G. Now you're already there. When you have to mark it, then you have to do the global thing, whatever. When you do Control G, it automatically brings it up as a global in the box, okay?
You go to your special entries.
Special entries.
And you would hit S until you come up to the speaker.
Special entry, S, 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 S. That one?
Yes.
All right.
And then, so you would put his name and you would put it in your job dictionary,
How?
not your main dictionary. Control J.
Control J. And there it's done. Okay? Did you see that, Slick? You're going to be asking questions when we get on that machine. How do we do that? And guess who's going to get it that day? Unless you have pizza, then maybe you won't.
I remember it from last year.
Hey, hey, quit yelling. Don't need to yell. So that's how you do it, okay? Any questions about that? Hey, Ace, you had a problem with that, so if you have, talk to me. You got it?
I mean, for now, yeah.
Uh,
For right now, if I.
Did you write it down?
Yes, I have it written down, it's just the way I wrote my notes. And I think the biggest issue that I had was how to, when it's colloquy, when it's back and forth between a person, I didn't understand how to get it defined as the person's name and then the question and answer, question, answer, then somebody interrupts, and then you have to identify who's speaking then, and then the judge says something, and then the other attorney says something, and then the other attorney says something, and then the other attorney says something and starts asking the question all over again. So then I'm like, crap, well, how do you do the, attorney 1Q?
That's it.
That's what I was saying, that's what
Attorney, Q, and then it starts, it already knows to put it in a byline over here.
That's what-
So now it's gonna say, by Mr. Peters, question, it already knows how to set it up.
That's what
Yeah.
I was having an issue with the
Yeah.
byline.
Yeah,
But if it's colloquy, it's just the back and forth of the
Yeah.
names coming up back and
That's
forth.
it.
back and forth.
that is it. And that's what colloquy is right here. And that's what they're doing. That's colloquy. So it already knows how to set it up. You know, when you're doing it back and forth, it's already gonna set it up in colloquy because that's the way that it's set up. Until you do it with a question, And it already knows to put it on a byline and put it in the question format. Okay? And that's what that SNU is. You know, SNU on the, you know, how do you do it? Control G. Then,
Special entry,
yeah, speaker,
speaker, and then.
attorney one. Because that's the way you're gonna do it every time. And you want it in your main because that's the way you're gonna do it every time for attorney one. Not for Bob, Mr. Barbarino. You know?
And then we would do Alt E to just go and fill in the forms, because it's gonna come
Yeah.
as a form field, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not gonna come
Oh, no,
up as
it's
a
not gonna
form
come
field.
up.
No, it's gonna come up as
As,
this.
okay,
But it's gonna be attorney one, attorney two, you know, whatever. Then you have to go in and put in Miss Jones, Mr. Jones, whatever.
okay, I'm getting those.
Colors, whatever. Any questions about that? About speakers? Guys, this is important. Speakers is important. Okay? So I got it? Um, all of this stuff I think we've already covered. Slop strokes. So like I was telling you guys, when you put these braces, and it says it right here, it is used to give a comma all the punctuation behaviors it needs. It's just like anything else, period, question mark, colon. It already knows what to do because you put these. If you don't put those, then it's not gonna know what to do. So if it's coming up wrong, like on yours, that's probably what happened. Somebody just defined it ED. So like on doing numbers, and you know that it's going to be a number and you need it to do something and you want it in numerals, this little pound sign already tells it that there's going to be a number there and that you want it in numerals, okay? But usually, and when we get to numbers, you'll see that you really don't have to define numbers because they're already defined. So if your number is coming up as you stroke number 1 on the number bar, and it's coming up ONE, then you got to go in there and do some converting of your dictionary. and make sure that all of your dictionary entries are defined correctly, because the number bar doesn't need to be defined. It already knows what to do with the numbers.
That it comes out.
It comes out the number, digit. Okay? Okay, any questions about this? Conflicts? No? You know what, I think we're gonna stop here, because numbers,
I was gonna say, because I have a lot of.
numbers
I'm
is,
sorry, you guys, I have a lot of questions on them.
numbers needs to be covered, and we're gonna have to spend some time with numbers, okay? Which is no big deal, and we'll cover it all next week. All right, we're gonna finish next week.
How
It
many
doesn't-
more do we have?
And not, I mean, a bunch of this, spell check, these are gonna go quick. Spell check, indexing, printing, backup, all of that's gonna go real quick. So you know what, bring your machine next week. And if we have time, we'll mess with it. If we don't, then we'll finish up. So if you bring your machine already, then don't worry about it. But if you don't, then bring it. Okay? Any questions about the stuff that we covered this week? Speakers, any of that stuff?
No.
Slick?
My own personal questions, but.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.